With these videos, it makes it seem that I'm really picky. What? No, I am picky. You know what? I am picky.
Alexis Sunshine 83, it's always sunny here.
Hey Sunshiners, Alexa Sunshine 83 right here. So since doing my videos where I share things that I regret buying, I have realized some themes as to why I end up not wearing something or why I end up feeling regretful about a purchase. And I feel a lot of times I end up, not wearing something because of X, Y, and Z. And then I end up making that same purchase again, where then I end up still not wearing the new thing that has all of the reasons why I didn't wear the other thing because of X, Y, and Z, if that made absolutely any sense. And I want to change that. I put together a list of 8 clothes you will always regret buying. This full list is obviously very personal to me, and this video is basically just for myself with making future purchases to hopefully not make the same mistake. So this may not be necessarily applicable to all of you, which let me know in the comments down below your own list of clothes you will always regret. And yeah, let's get into it. First up is something that I unfortunately do a lot, and I'm actively trying to change it, and that is buying pieces to live a pretend Pinterest life. And I think this could also be clothing pieces that just aren't realistic for your lifestyle. And even, at least for me, this happens where I see an outfit on Pinterest and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is such a cute outfit. That would be such a cute photo. I'm going to try to find similar pieces to recreate in a way that photo, and I envision the photo I'm gonna take in that clothing piece. So it doesn't even have to be even like on Pinterest, but I see that piece on Depop and I think about a way that I'm gonna style it for an Instagram photo. And I have not posted an Instagram photo since January. Like, maybe if I was posting, a lot more Instagram photos, then that could be justified to purchase that specific thing that I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to take a photo in it. But what ends up happening is I buy the item, I have the, outfit photo in my mind, and I never take it. And then I end up never wearing that piece because I really just bought it for that one photo. I didn't even buy it to really integrate into my wardrobe. I was just really excited about the photo I could take in it. And I mean, I do obviously social media as a job, so I don't think a lot of people have that kind of issue, but it's something I'm definitely trying to change. And I think that also goes into the whole Pinterest life thing, where I see a certain style of piece that I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be like the Pinterest girlies as well. But most of them live in a big city like Paris and New York, and they are going out every single day. I follow this one person's vlogs, and they literally go to a restaurant every single day or are doing stuff every single day, like leaving their house every single day. And so they get so many photos, and the pieces that they own just make sense for their lifestyle, whereas a lot of those things wouldn't work in my lifestyle because I don't go out every single day. I think there's an aspect of, oh, this is how I want to dress, so maybe this piece is outside of my comfort zone, but this is where I want my style to go. But I think what matters is it being realistic. I cannot tell you how many heels I have bought when, number one, I hate heels. I have completely flat feet. I don't have an arch at all. And I truly, in the past 2 years, there's only been one time that I've thought to myself, I wish I had some heels to wear with this outfit. Of course, there are exceptions in regards to maybe like one specific type of dress that if you did get invited to a wedding or a fancy event, that maybe that justifies it. But I think at least having something that you could still integrate into your wardrobe, but could also work for maybe a fancier type of thing. But again, if I'm really looking at the past 2 years, I have never been in that dilemma. But there are some really pretty pieces like my Laura Ashley floral dress. That's a little, that one I don't regret because it's so beautiful. So there's small exceptions, but I don't want any more exceptions. I feel like my Laura Ashley like floral dress, which I would not wear that to a wedding. I would wear it, I mean, I have an idea of how I want to wear it, but even that, I don't regret that purchase, but I don't want to make those types of purchases of I'm gonna wear this when I do a picnic with friends. When was the last time I did a picnic? Oh, I did it once. It's like someday this will be the perfect piece because I have enough of those and I've said goodbye to enough of those as well. This one is definitely going to be the most specific to me and possibly maybe if you're a half size in shoes as well, but I am a true size 9.5, but I can be a 9, I can be a 10, and I can be a size 11. And so from now on, I have a new rule that I am not allowed to buy any shoes that I can't try on first or that I can't return, which yes, I try to buy secondhand as much as possible, but when it comes to shoes, I have just bought so many shoes from Depop and Poshmark where they ended up just not fitting me. And yes, I can then resell them, but I usually lose money on it. And it would have just made more sense to honestly just buy it new because then I could have returned it. Sometimes what I do is if I find a shoe on Poshmark, I'll actually go to the store if I can and try it on before purchasing it. Trying to look up reviews as to if, you know, that fry boot runs big or small is not helpful because some people will be like, oh my gosh, these run so big, or oh my gosh, these run so small. When I bought my John Fluvog cowboy boots, everyone said that they ran small. And so I was like, okay, a size 10 should totally work for me. And a lot of times, especially with it being vintage sizing is smaller. They were, you know, a pretty penny and they were too big. Yes, I was able to put 2 insoles and then have to wear 2 socks to where I could walk in them, but I ended up never wearing them because I just wanted to throw them on and go out the door. And maybe that's not realistic for buying secondhand shoes. If a shoe doesn't fit me right, I'm not gonna wear it. My favorite place to buy secondhand shoes is ThredUp because you can return them. You do have to pay a fee. I think it's like $10, but $10 over potentially like them not working out and you then hoping somebody buys them on your Poshmark, you know, I definitely would take that route. This video is not sponsored by ThredUp, but in regards to secondhand shoes, that is my favorite place. Whenever I thrift something and bring it back home and I'm about to put it in the washing machine and I see the tag says hand wash or dry clean only, my heart absolutely breaks because I just can't be bothered. I have had so many items in the past where, you know, I paid to get them dry cleaned or I hand washed them and it's a lot. Well, the dry cleaning part isn't a lot of work, but it's very expensive. At least for the dry cleaning places I've gone to, like I think I had a leather jacket and it was $100, which it was a beautiful leather jacket and I felt okay with spending that money because I loved that leather jacket so much and I wanted it to be like properly washed. There's certain things that you know, it's not worth dry cleaning. Maybe I didn't like it as much and so I just shouldn't have thrifted it. I should have known all that information and been like, are you actually going to properly take care of it? I mean, I take care of my clothes, don't get me wrong, but there's certain things that they really do require to be dry cleaned. And I'm not gonna do that. I've had so many items in my closet just sitting in there because I wouldn't take them to get dry cleaned. Okay, I know some people have like their favorite dry cleaner that they go to, but where I live, there's just, if there's like multiple bad reviews, I just can't take the chance. And I end up getting in my head and then I end up just never going to a dry cleaner because I'm terrified that they're gonna ruin the piece because there were multiple, even if there's one comment, I'm like, well, I can't go there because that 1% out of 100 said it was terrible. Maybe that's something I need to work on. But anyway, hand wash is obviously easier in that you can just like do it in your own home. But I remember I thrifted like 5 or 6 sweaters and I didn't realize that they all were hand wash only. And that took me so many hours because they were heavy and obviously I wanted to make sure I like properly washed them and then dried them. And sometimes the smell that comes out of Some of my favorite sweaters I had to hand wash and it was totally worth it, but I don't need any more of that. Something that happens to me quite often with secondhand shopping is I find a clothing piece that is exactly what I've been looking for months. Maybe it's been on my thrift wish list for months up to years, and I find it and I think, oh my gosh, the thrift gods, they're helping me. I've manifested this piece, but it is not in the color that I originally wanted, or also in a color that I wouldn't necessarily wear, or I even kind of thought about buying. And many times I have then still thrifted it because I'm like, well, this was the universe giving it to me. It is meant to be. But no, it is not. If it was in the right color, maybe it was meant to be. I have this checkered, beautiful skirt that I love the fit. I love everything about it. I had been looking for a gingham / checkered skirt for such a long time, but specifically in a black or red. And this skirt is in orange. And yes, it's a very fun skirt. I've worn it a bunch of times. I love it, but I don't love the color. And I think I thrifted it about 2 years ago. And I have been in denial because every time I go to wear it, I'm like, I just wish it wasn't in orange. And I haven't said goodbye to it because of that reason of it being so perfect, except for the color. And then I haven't bought a new checkered skirt because I'm like, well, I already have a checkered skirt. Why would I buy another checkered skirt? Even though this other checkered skirt is the color I actually wanted and would wear so much more. I already own the other one. I'm just gonna keep wearing the other one, which yes, that's, a great thought process, but I'm not wearing the other one. And I am regretful about owning it because I don't wear it enough, even though it's beautiful. Another example, I was on ThredUp this morning. Guess what I found? The Vans Mary Janes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just talked about this in my last video. The universe, it's listening, but it was in white. And when looking at the Mary Jane Vans, I never looked at the white and thought, oh, I want this color. No, I was looking at the black or the red or even the pink, but not white. And in that moment, I was like, but I'm able to find it secondhand. I should just buy it, but I'm not going to wear it because that wasn't the color that I originally wanted. This next one actually perfectly goes together with the last, and it is not buying the thing that you actually want. It definitely can have to do with the whole color thing, because if I end up coming across a piece in the right color, I still want that piece in the right color. So now I have two pieces that are the same, but they're in different colors. And yes, maybe sometimes that can work, but what if the original one that you thrifted was in a color that you were never gonna wear? Now you're never gonna wear it because you finally found the one that you actually wanted in the color that you're going to wear, and that was a wasteful purchase. Sometimes finding something that's similar, not exact, can be a good thing, especially when talking about trends or even stuff on Pinterest, because it ends up being more unique. But when you are specifically wanting the exact piece, and again, I have many times purchased something that was slightly similar to the piece that I actually want, and then I still want that other piece. And then maybe I end up getting it, and then that other one is now a regretful purchase because now they're too similar, and I'm always gonna go for the one that I actually wanted when I could have just waited. I've done this a lot with leather jackets where I found something that was kind of similar, but maybe it wasn't the right fit that I wanted, the right length, the right shade of black, the right feeling of leather. I mean, there's so many different things, but I thrifted it because I was like, oh, well, I have been looking for this particular kind of type of leather jacket, and I don't know if I'll end up finding the dream one that I really want. And so I'm just gonna thrift it, and then maybe it takes 6 months, but then I end up finding that, honestly, I've had it happen like the next day where I found that exact piece that I wanted, and literally my purchase from yesterday is now a regret. This is kind of a perfect example sometimes where maybe it would have just made more sense to buy the piece new, specifically talking about, a piece that is new and you're trying to find secondhand, and you end up thrifting so many pieces that are similar, but again, the hole in your heart for that exact piece is still there, and now you've wasted and have regretful purchases, like a couple of them, all because you just wanted that one piece. Like, it would have just made more sense to buy that one piece versus 5 that are similar but not right, and you still want that one piece. Clothing that is made out of a flimsy material or a material that doesn't hold up, or even that it just wrinkles easily, is always going to be a regretful purchase. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why I don't thrift Reformation from, well, obviously the prices as well, but even if it is a price that feels, you know, comfortable, the material in most cases, depending on the piece, ends up not holding up after a wash, which is why I love finding like more of these expensive brands secondhand to see what the quality is like, especially on ThredUp, because they do not put that much effort into taking the photos of the items. Where on Depop, sometimes they'll iron them. So you're like, oh, that's a really good, and it could be a good quality piece as well. Just because it is flimsy doesn't mean it's bad quality. But for me, in my day-to-day life, it's kind of that, you know, pieces that work for you realistically. If it's made with a flimsy material, like, I'm not gonna iron it every single day. A perfect example of this is clothing made out of linen. At least for, I mean, maybe it wasn't 100% linen, I don't know, but anytime I've ever thrifted linen pieces, they are just such a headache to not look wrinkly and like sloppy. And I mean, I don't mind wrinkles, honestly, but there's something about linen that I'm just like, I mean, sometimes you can get linen that's kind of like a crinkly look, so it's almost kind of supposed to look wrinkled. But if it's not supposed to look wrinkled, especially linen pants, oh my gosh, I thrifted these white linen pants, specifically also white pants. Absolutely not, because they end up always just not looking right. Like the material doesn't hold up and it just looks wrinkly and bad. Specifically on me, I thrifted these 100% linen pants and I never wore them because they just always looked terrible. The material was just too flimsy, and for other people, they absolutely love that. It totally works for them. It looks great on them. But for me, I literally after a week, I was like, why did I buy this? I regret this so much. The last one on this list is 100% the biggest reason why I end up regretting purchases, and that is because the material is itchy, uncomfortable, scratchy, and this has happened to me so many times with vintage sweaters and cardigans. As beautiful as they are, if it is itchy, I am not gonna wear it. Also, just pieces that are uncomfortable, and this can be obviously different for every single person, but something I've been telling myself recently is do not buy any type of bottom that you cannot sit in. I know that sounds pretty like obvious, but especially jeans, I have ran into that where the jeans were beautiful, but I to sit in them, I had to unbutton them. And being in Southern California, we don't have walkable cities really, and so I have to get into a car, and that isn't realistic to have to unbutton. But also, like, what if I was getting coffee with somebody? I had gotten coffee with a friend one time, and I wore this dress and it was so uncomfortable to sit down in. It was denim. It was beautiful if you just stood up and just didn't move, but then when you actively were trying to live life, it was extremely uncomfortable. And what is clothing if not to help you live your life? I mean, yes, it's art and there's, you know, different stuff with that, but I want my clothing to be able to be lived in, for me to be able to live in, actually. I will just always regret anything that has something slightly annoying with it, no matter how small it is. When I'm wearing it, that's all I will think about. Necklaces where you have to tie them in the back, I'm not gonna wear it because number one, I have to tie it, and that takes some extra, you know, maybe 20 seconds. That's not that long, but for me, I'm just not gonna wear it because I'm like, I don't wanna be bothered. What if I make it too short, too long, and then what if it gets stuck in my hair and then having to untie it? Like, it's just, that's too much. And again, this is about me being realistic with my particular tastes and why I end up regretting stuff, because I don't want to regret purchases anymore. So even if it seems just absolutely ridiculous, that's fine. I'm owning that ridiculous reasons. I have one more, so technically 9, and that is I always regret purchases that I was indecisive about. If you were 50-50 about buying an item, do not buy it. I am the most indecisive person and shopper in the world. And somebody had commented on a thrift with me when I was talking about being indecisive about a purchase that if it is not hell yes, then leave it. I would much rather regret not buying something than buying something. In practice, I will say I'm still trying to hold true to this and have this in my mind when I do go shopping. But I feel like 9 times out of 10, the indecisive purchases, I always regret. Alrighty, thank you all so much for watching. I feel like with these videos, it makes it seem that I'm really picky. No, I am picky. You know what? I am picky. I'd gone to comment on my last like regretful purchase video where somebody was like, do you like anything? Like, why are you being so negative? And you know what? Sometimes it's good to be negative, specifically about purchases, because you learn something from it. And there's plenty of things that I love as well that I talk about all the time in my other videos, but sometimes it's good to sit down and to just say it so it really sticks inside, and also maybe it helps any of you that feel the same. If you would like to see my face again, then make sure to subscribe right down below and hit that little bell to be notified every time I make a new video. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, which is alexsunshine83. I will see you in my next video, and I hope you have a super sunny day. Bye!